was, he was amazing. Oh God, you wonder sometimes in your life, you know, you meet such extraordinary people, you wonder where they are or what they're doing or if they're still around, you know. Or the picture on the dining room table, that was my grandparents' home. That's where I was born. I got my RN at the Belfast City Hospital. 21, I think, I got my RN. And I went to London to Guy's Hospital. I think it's the oldest hospital in the world. The latter half of my midwifery training, I lived with a little old midwife in her council house, and we would keep our bikes in her hallway, and we would ride our bikes around the district. Of us would ride our bikes and visit our patients. I think I did live at about 30. I got my midwifery degree. I left and went to join a friend in Germany, and I thought, oh, I want to see a bit more of Europe. Ended up hitchhiking through Europe with a young German lad called Rolf. He was very good looking, but not really very. Hitchhiked to Sicily, and then in Palermo, I was walking along the docks. This chap comes walking towards me, and then he passed me, and we both looked round at each other. I heard him say, "Quelle femme." Anyway, that was that, and I got on the boat with Rolf to Tunis. We decided we'd go to North Africa. So we were on the boat, and lo and behold, here was this German, Peter. And so we struck up a great conversation, resulting in, when we got to Tunis, Rolf decided he would go off on his own, and Peter and I decided we would hitchhike down to the Sahara together on camel. But in the meantime, I got to know this Bedouin family. They were nomads, you know, and they were so hospitable. And they wanted me to join them. And they followed their goats, you know, and all that. They followed their herd. I ended up spending a few nights with the Bedouins in their tents. They were so generous and so hospitable. And they took me to the old Roman baths, and they bathed me. They wrapped me up in big towels and put me on a marble slab. He had met us after he had spent time in Lapland with the Lapps. Lapland is up in the North Pole, and he spent a lot of time with these ladies in Lapland. He said they all smelled like deer because they followed their deer herds. I met his brother at a Thanksgiving dinner, and he said, you should go up to New York and meet my brother. So I said, okay. So I went up to New York and I met Dusty, and we hung out for about 6 weeks, I think, on and off. I would go up from Baltimore to New York. He was smaller than me, so he used to make me walk in the gutter, and he'd walk on the sidewalk, be the same height. But I met him then about 30 years later. I was in London. He said, oh, Dusty Hoffman's here making a movie. He's on location. I said, oh my God. So I went in, I said hi to Dusty, but he didn't remember me. I was a Playboy bunny. I was a Playboy bunny at night. I just wanted to see what it was all about. And I met Hugh Hefner and his brother. Because this chap couldn't believe I was a Playboy bunny. And he said, what do they do there? I said, they're just plain waitresses wearing a bunny tail and ears, that's all. They gave me a name. I was your bunny Erin. And you have to learn this thing called a bunny dip. You've got to kind of bend backwards when you serve the drinks. You have to bend your knees and lean backwards. And we lived in this lovely hotel. on Chota Russell Street in Calcutta. And we toured all of India and especially Kashmir. It was so exquisite underneath the Himalayas. And while I was there, I did a little work with Mother Teresa. Well, I went to her convent and knocked the door, and I told the nun that I was an RN and I would like to work with Mother Teresa, and she invited me in and showed me to a rock in the garden, and I sat on the rock, and she said, Mother Teresa will be with you in a minute. Tiny little tiger. She told me this story in my first interview. She said, I want you to go to the villages and you will go in one of my trucks. And she said, I got the truck because the Pope came to visit me in Calcutta and he gave me his pink Cadillac. She said, what do I want a pink Cadillac for? She said, so I sold the pink Cadillac and I got 3 trucks and you will go in one of the trucks to the villages. I said, what would you like me to do? And she said, I'd like you to go to the villages and do first aid there, you know. And I said, my husband could come too, right? She said, oh yes, that's great, to get a doctor and a nurse volunteering. So we turned up, did that. And we went to this village, one village, and there was a hut, and there was a row of people waiting for us that was about 100 yards long. And the main problem was malnutrition. Everybody, that was the biggest problem. And I got here and I thought to myself, I want to go to school and do art. I had to make a living and had to keep myself, so that's why I was doing. I did some little paintings. I was thinking about that recently. I did a little bit, but nothing, just pottering about. I'm a figurative sculptor, and it's interesting how nursing and the study of anatomy played into that. You see his bones, and you know. In New York, and I saw this old man sitting in a doorway on a concrete slab, and the image stayed with me, and I came back here and made him. I made him actually at CCS. And I made him too at CCS. The stick piece is Kyung-ae's piece. That's another piece of mine there. Oh, it's just, it is what it is. 2 figures. 70s was into knotted and string and knots and so forth. And this is like straight out of the 70s. And she threw it out. It was in the garbage can in my backyard. Ew, what a hot shit. And James Stevens, and he was a studio mate of mine, and he's hot. He's out of Chicago. He calls it After the Deluge. It's either Bedouin or Indian, but I know it was a gift. But it's a good question. And it's all hand needlepoint. The whole thing at the bottom is beautiful. Yeah. Well, I couldn't afford to live here unless I had a tenant. Some people are better at, writing a dissertation on a piece, but I just like it. That's a Cambodian apsara up there. Apsara means dancer. Yeah. And that's an Irish watercolor, and I didn't know until recently. He's a well-known Irish watercolorist. He's Morrison, and might be quite valuable. And the mountain is in Donegal. And this painting here, it's a painting by a Royal Academy artist called Sir William Beechey. And it's a painting, the subject is a gentleman farmer from Sussex in England. And his name is Fountain Elwyn Woodyear. Yeare, as in Shakespeare, you know? That's worth about 15,000. Yeah, it's museum quality.
Wow.
I would sell it, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But the grandmother liked me a lot, and I liked her a lot. And that's her painting. You see up there, but on the right, the roses in the vase. Started painting in her 70s, and she was great fun, and we got on like a house on fire.
Who your greatest love of your life was?
My mom, for sure. Kathleen, it's a lovely name.